Egypt is a country that holds a lot of historical value. It is located in Northeast Africa and its capital is Cairo. Their currency is the Egyptian pound and their president is Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and he has led the country to have good relations with neighborhood countries such as Israel, Libya, Sudan, Palestine, Iraq, Iran, Jordan, and Morocco. The climate is mostly desert with very dry and hot days and warm nights, giving resources such as petroleum, natural gas, iron, ore, phosphate, manganese, limestone, gypsum, talc, asbestos, lead, and zinc. Though Egypt may not be regarded as one of the most impacting countries today, thousands of years ago it developed a civilization that left legacies that developed into the world as we know it today. 5000 BC was the year Egypt began developing. People had started farming, then continued weaving linen and making pottery, then moving on to bronze. In 3000 BC, Egypt was divided into lower and upper parts, then divided into 42 areas known as nomes, each one having a governor. In the Old Kingdom, which ended in 2181 BC, pyramids were built. In 1281, the Civil Wars arose, ending the Old Kingdom. The Middle Kingdom lasted until 1650 BC, and this was the period of art and literature. More pyramids were built and military success arose in Egypt. In 1650, Lower Egypt was conquered and the Upper Egypt part lost power of Lower Egypt. The new kingdom started with the reconquest of Lower Egypt in 1550, and this made the Egyptian government very rich and very powerful. However, it collapsed in 1070 BC because of the differences between the pharaoh and his son and their beliefs. Ancient Egypt really ended in 70 AD with the spread of Christianity into their land. Islam governs everyone's personal, economic, political, and legal life. Family is the most significant unit of life. Social class determines your access to power and position. Egypt currently has 3 social classes, which are upper, middle, and lower. The language has been Arabic for the past 13 centuries, and their religion is 94% Muslim, Christian, and others form the 6% that is missing from that. Muslims are to pray 5 times a day, at dawn, noon, afternoon, sunset, and the evening. Friday is the Muslim holy day and everything is closed. During the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, they fast from dusk to dawn. Egyptian cuisine mostly consists of legumes and vegetables provided by the Nile. They also include loads of bread and traditional foods like shawarma, calamari, keshk, and falafel. One of the first art phases Egypt went through was in 1939 when the Neo-Pharaohic phase. It challenged tradition, figures, and art and introduced and brought forward new styles, mixing in some abstract aspects and experimenting with shapes. People of this era joined the Art and Freedom group and rallied and argued for the freedom to express themselves and be able to paint what they want and strayed from the norm. After many revolutions, starting the 1990s, art was focused on political, economic, and social turmoil that had begun to take place within the country. The art was an escape or a way to express what they felt inside. The theme of most of their art was in ways in which they can escape their turmoil, explaining life, intriguing and entertaining things, and political strife and escaping it. For the pyramids, the architecture was always the square pyramid and buildings used different columns. Nowadays, buildings don't have as much architectural detail or color. Literature-wise, many Egyptians have been including Egypt's turmoil and political economical problems into their literary works. Frustration has been creeping in and has impacted every area of art and aspect in Egypt. Egypt's poetry is a more essential part to Egypt's literature. All of the recent changes have impacted a frequent used theme in the Egyptian literature, a theme that is depressing and with a lot of fear. Picture writing was the first form of writing that there was. Hieroglyphics were used for about 3,500 years to record important information, and these were one of the first scripts. Scripts were signs and letters used to make up statements. Nobody really knows how the Egyptians started to write. They might have learned it from the Sumerians, who also began to write at 3000 BC. The Egyptians wrote hieroglyphics, which is different from the cuneiform of the Sumerians. Egypt has a provisional government, meaning that it's just temporary while they're having problems with previous government or arguing about it. This type of government is not permanent and not very stable. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is the sixth and current president of Egypt. He was just put in this year. At the moment of military makes most of the decisions. The country is divided into Islamist and secular groups. There have been many protests, strikes, and lots of turmoil in the past couple of years. The president, who was originally elected in 2012, who was part of the Muslim Brotherhood, was forced to be changed because of the protests against the government and military disagreements. In 2012, Egypt broke into riots all over the place. All this chaos began around the time Mohamed Morsi was elected because he said a constitutional declaration that overall allowed him to sweep constitutional power. Egyptians began protesting about their government, corruption levels, and growing poverty. They were enraged because they believed that they didn't have any more freedom. More than 1,000 people were arrested, trading was suspended, and the protests then transitioned into 2013. By July 2013, the government had killed a strong amount of the protestants, and the protests ceased, but have threatened to awake once again. Overall, it is highly evident that Egypt is a country that still has a long way to go before it is fully developed.